fool around with this guitar part for a second while y'all are.
I can't mute him. Hello, Bigfoot enthusiasts. If you hear music in the background, hey.
That is our special guest who we're going to introduce in just a few minutes. So first.
Hey, I'm Scott from Squatch America.
And I'm Hannah, domestic goddess in the paddy wagon.
So, tonight we got a pretty awesome show coming for you. We got a good show.
Dang good show.
Dang good show coming tonight.
And for the first time in forever, it wasn't my idea.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
I know.
Make me sound dumb.
No.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you know where we're at tonight. Is if I look right out that window, right over there, I am looking at the Little Alien. I can see the flashing lights of the UFO that's on the side of their building. If you don't know where the Little Alien is, it's right on the outskirts of Area 51. It's right out that window. We're within 5 miles, I think, of right over the hill right there.
We are close enough to hear all of the military, there goes my thing, all the military jets taking off and breaking sound barriers.
Yeah, all day long they were flying over us, testing alien technology and all that stuff.
So, anyway, so what's happening?
So
where are we? I mean, why are we here? Why are we at Area 51? What's the plan, Stan?
Because we're looking for graboids.
Well, yeah, but what's the plan after this?
Why
are we here to begin with?
Because we're headed south, actually. We're going to...
we're going to go be warm for the winter.
Yeah, we're going to go be warm for the winter. We're going to spend some time in Las Vegas for a little bit, looking for Bigfoot on the streets of Las Vegas. But we might... Oh, maybe not. But then after that, we are headed down through Arizona and going to make our way over to
Texarkana.
And we're going to go over to Boggy Creek and
Falk, Arkansas.
Falk, Arkansas, and go find us the Falk Monster. That's what we're going to do.
That's the ultimate plan. So what do you got for us tonight?
So tonight we got a very special guest.
Besides rocking, blazing good connection.
We do. They got really good internet at Area 51.
Thank
you very much. So.
Guess what? Hello, everyone. Please, if you're with us tonight, I see there are 6 watching now. Go ahead and drop something in the chat. But Cousin Denise says, glorious beard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, yes, I just kept it going from No Shave November. We're gonna rock it out and see if we can get the old man beard and the mullet going. So that'd be perfect.
Does that mean I get to have short hair?
Yeah. No. Okay. Okay. Well, let's get into this tonight.
Okay.
So, hi Denise. Hi Renee.
And Bloody River. First of all, great handle there for you, man. But he says, "Become a wizard."
Become a wizard.
Yeah. I am a true believer. So.
Okay. Here we go. So. Tonight, we've got a special guest, and I'm going to bring him up.
From No Shave November to Dumbledore December.
There's something wrong with you. Anyway, so we're gonna introduce our special guest. You want to introduce?
Okay, so this is a fun story. I love to tell good stories. So a couple years ago, it was actually 2018. We were just either setting up for I think we were setting up for our very first, and as it turned out, looks like it might have been the last Blue Mountain Bigfoot festival over in Baker City. And, and we come home, and I don't know what we're doing in the house, probably just getting stuff together, and all of a sudden the doorbell rings, and I go answer the doorbell, and there's this guy standing there on the porch. And he says, I literally just saw your truck, and I was like emailing him, and then I drove by here and it's parked here. So, hi, I'm Tom Bennett. I think that's something how it went. Anyway, we met this guy, Tom Bennett, who heads a research group in Utah and is also a fabulous musician, which of course piqued my interest. And so we have him here with us tonight.
All right, so here he is. There's Tom. Wave hi, Tom. You're live.
Hey, thank you for. It's good to see you two again.
Awesome. Yeah.
And actually, the original plan for 2020 was he was going to come be our musical guest. We were expanding the Blue Mountain Bigfoot Festival to be a 2-day gig with music and beer gardens and things like that. And he was going to come be our guest. But of course, 2020 had a different idea for all of us. So this is as close as we get.
All righty.
That was the only cancellation that made me sad.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
It made us sad too.
it was not happy for us at all.
No.
So, Tom, Southern Utah Bigfoot Association, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. Oh, I am the sole member at this point.
Are you?
I've been going for about 7 or 8 months.
Okay. But hey, I saw that you got to interview Dr. Jeff for a little bit.
Yeah, I did, man. He's such a nice guy, man. I kind of dropped in on him like I dropped in on y'all. I was playing a show in Lava Hot Springs, Idaho, and heard about some hot springs, and was just over there relaxing. And there were a bunch of rodeo folk out there in the water too. And something came up about Bigfoot, and one of them said, "Oh, the expert, Dr. Jeff Meldrum's just up the road in Pocatello." And I just happened to be going there the next day, and looked him up and got in touch, and he said, "Come on by." And that first time I went and saw him, I went through his lab with him for about 2.5 hours, and he was just so gracious to answer every question I had, and we had a wonderful conversation, and just considered him a friend ever since. I've been back to see him a few times.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've met him a couple times. We've actually spoke at festivals together, and yeah, him and I got to hang out with him and Cliff Barrickman from Finding Bigfoot for 2 days. We were at a Bigfoot festival in Pocatello, and it was kind of rained out. There wasn't a lot of people had showed up, and we did our guest speaking, and so we ended up just hanging out for 2 days, just sitting around talking Bigfoot for 2 days with Cliff Barrickman and Dr. Jeff, and it was awesome.
I bet it was.
Yeah, so
He's a good man. I like him a lot. He's just it's so cool because he obviously he's somebody that knows a lot about a lot of different things, to be honest, but he never speaks to you as if you're any less than him. He's a very respectful, kind man. And you can tell he's very passionate about the subject of Sasquatch. He'll take your questions and just really expand whatever you've already whatever knowledge you possess. He'll expand it.
yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of gets me having conversations with him is those $5 words I don't understand. He uses a lot, but he is a college professor, so, and a doctor at that. So
The coolest thing, the first time I visited his lab, the whole thing was fascinating, but to me, I thought the coolest part was he had a replica of a skull. I think it was an Australopithecus, and he picked it up and showed me why he believed that was a prime evolutionary ancestor for an animal like the Sasquatch, and showed me the jaw structure and where the muscles would have connected on the head. Just really went through that with me, which was really opened my eyes to a whole new way of looking at this creature.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, he and I had a few of those long conversations too. I'm an anthropologist also. I don't have a doctorate like he does, and my expertise is a totally different area. But I've mentioned this to other people. I don't know if you know this, but my expertise is actually in Native American culture, and that's what got me into.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's what got me into this. Is I spent a lot of time with various indigenous Americans here, and all of them have a Bigfoot legend, so it was pretty awesome.
You know what? I'm glad you say that, because it reminded me the first time I met Dr. Meldrum, I was playing guitar out in the street outside of I think it was a Comic-Con in Salt Lake City, and somebody dropped some tickets in my tip hat. And I don't care about comic books or video games, never been my thing. but I had free tickets. I wasn't going to miss out. So I went in and was looking around. I'm just like, all right, whatever, cool costumes. That's awesome. And I look over and I didn't know who Dr. Meldrum was, but he had a nice display. He was there and he looked really bored because everybody there was there for comic book stuff. But he had a big banner behind him that had all these words that were clearly various native languages. And I went over and I was looking at it and I said, what does this mean? He said, these are all different names for the animal called Sasquatch. And right then I was like, wow, that to me is such a compelling piece of evidence that so many of these cultures from coast to coast and up into Canada, down into South America, had words and descriptions for this being that were so unique in their descriptive qualities. And that to me, still to this day, when I get in conversations with people, which I do often at my shows, which are in bars, they say, well, why do you believe? And I say, well, I don't believe. I look at the evidence, and the evidence is compelling enough to cause me to come to the conclusion this animal exists. And this is one of those pieces of evidence, and I always bring that up.
Yeah, that's what got me into it. Was I spending time with an elder, actually with a Miwok tribe. They're in the Yosemite National Park area, and I was helping them. They were trying to get a treaty with the United States because they didn't have one. They got lumped in with the Paiutes, and they're a totally separate tribe. So we were trying to help them, discover their past and their history and show how long they had been in an area. And we found these petroglyphs, and I was looking at them with the elders, and I learned how to read these in college, so I'm like, okay, I know what all this means, but this one symbol here, what's that? That's like a huge dude, and the elder said Yayali, and I go, Yayali, can you translate that for me? He goes, yeah, Bigfoot. And I go, they exist? And he goes, yeah, you idiot, and walked off. So I'm like, really? So then I started, contacting other tribe members that I've worked with, and then since then, that was like 25 years ago, I've clocked 175 names for Bigfoot from different tribes. So
that's very, very cool. Yeah, and that's interesting. I didn't know that about you. We'll have to talk more some other time about that. Because, I play most of my shows in areas that still have big populations of Native people. I do a lot of shows in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Idaho. Almost every night there's at least a handful of Native people that are at my shows. And yeah, you're right. They do have names for this being. They describe it in similar terms. You mentioned, so I'm the sole member of the Southern Utah Bigfoot Association. And most of the time when I ask questions, at my shows on the mic, I'll say, hey, when I take a break, if anybody's got a Sasquatch experience, come tell me about it, no matter what it is. If it's an old legend, family story, I'd like to hear it all. Come tell me. And the majority of the time, it's Native people that come up and tell me. As recently as a few weeks ago, Shoshone people out in Ely, Nevada, told me some interesting stories, and not just about Sasquatches, but about the little people too, which I've started hearing more about that throughout, like Wyoming and Hawaii, I guess, has their own species of little Makuni or whatever they're called, by the Hawaiians. But it's just interesting. There's so much more to history and anthropology that hasn't become the popular narrative, and it's just all fascinating.
Oh, it absolutely is. In fact, it's funny. We spent the night in Ely two nights ago. So, but yeah,
that's very, very quiet truck stop. I was really impressed.
Yeah, we spent about a month just recently up in Lakota territory in South Dakota, and
always went there.
Oh, it's marvelous.
We liked it so much we made it our official residence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Kissed Oregon goodbye and said we are now South Dakotans.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we did. They're really, the South Dakota is really friendly to RVers. They let you basically domicile there. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I've heard about that for receiving mail and everything else.
Yeah,
and setting up residence and.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
So what did I guess in a nutshell, what did the Lakota have to say about their history with that animal?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I have found that there's a kind of almost different tribes. Out of all the names I've found, most of them are like, half of them are like friend, brother, elder. The other half is like monster,
Boogeyman.
Wendigo, like those names, like something that's going to eat you. And
Right.
the Lakota have more of a
They're more of a, actually it's more of a deity,
yeah,
like a, almost like a, not a Christ figure so much, but definitely a deity who can assume terrestrial form
yeah,
as needed.
yeah.
Interesting.
They look at it like a spirit, like it can vanish
Mhm.
and reappear, and stuff like that.
There's a lot of people that that do have that opinion of Sasquatch. And when I first started hearing people that had those ideas, interdimensionary, spiritual, it was natural for me to just want to go, I don't know about that. That's a lot of, like imagination, I guess you could say. It's very speculative. But then I started hearing all these different Native American accounts, and it's like, you know what? Who am I to say that that's not maybe the case? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't wanna-
magic is just science we haven't learned yet. So we just don't know.
I
Yeah.
would say that a good statement. Yeah, I agree. Um, I've had a lot of people contact me from the Navajo Nation. That's the indigenous people that I'm most in contact with. I do a lot of shows out that way, and they've just been very warm and kind to me. And a lot of sightings and experiences throughout Navajo country, especially out around Gallup, New Mexico, in those
Okay.
mountains out that way. And then of course, the Mogollon monster out in Arizona. A lot of people talk about that. There's some recent, really close up audio of the Mogollon monster. It sounds to me like two of them, and real close, terrifying, pretty awesome stuff. Mournful wails,
Mhm.
that I've been able to find on the internet. I like to stay up a little late and try to stay up on that stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, what are some of your favorite Sasquatch clips that you've seen on the internet, and favorite channels to follow? Do you have any? I'll write them down if you do.
Yeah, my channel.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah.
How about that one that you put together?
Yep.
You should.
Watch America.
You should. Put
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
You should,
yeah, it's Squatch America.
You did the, what was it, the 5 or the 10 best internet?
Yeah, I did. I actually did a video on my channel.
You
It had
should-
the,
you
the
should.
five. It was the 5 best video clips that I think are the most credible.
Oh, okay, I'll go watch.
Yeah, and then also some of the other ones. There's oh gosh, there's so many that I watch. There's a guy called How to Hunt. His name's Steve.
Yeah, Steve. Yeah.
He tells a lot of stories. So he gets stories from other people, and just
He gets-
relates them. I know.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a plethora to kind of mine his stories. Like, okay, you can start putting stuff together. I do that a lot. Kind of one of the things we're doing actually is while we're traveling, we're getting Bigfoot stories from people, and by doing that, I'm not, how most Bigfooters are out there trying to say, well, we're going to discover this thing, we're going to prove its existence, we're going to do all this stuff.
We're gonna whoop and knock on trees and
Yeah.
leave out Nutella jars.
Yeah, and all that. But and I've done that for 25 years, and I've got a photo of one last year or 2 years ago, actually. Now
Yeah.
I'm getting old, but anyway, no. But what we're doing now is kind of different. What I want to do is take my anthropology background, and especially the cultural part of it, and by taking stories from people, be able to piece together what's the culture of the
Right.
Bigfoot. So
Basically, do narrative research.
yeah, and try to
I like-
and
awesome.
try not to, because we've got hair samples, we've got footprint casts, we've got videos, we've got photos,
We've got
and
DNA for crying out
yeah,
loud.
there's DNA for crying out loud, and it's proved nothing to nobody, and especially this day and age, photos are worthless because of Photoshop and everything.
Exactly. Yes, they're interesting to see, but you can't take them too serious. You never know.
So basically, we want to take research to the next step, as if the hypothesis, the theory that Bigfoot is indeed a creature, and that we're just taking that as a given and going the next step to do that narrative research to put together behavior patterns and that sort of thing. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna look on my phone here and bring up YouTube and see what my most recent watched ones were. You want a list of good ones?
Yeah.
And while he's doing that, let me just make an announcement that tomorrow is my birthday. I accept Amazon gift cards.
Or super chats in the
or
super
super
chat.
chats. Yeah, go ahead. Just drop us some love in the super chat. I will be 51 years old tomorrow, and we will be having roast turkey. You know why? Because we didn't have any turkey on Thanksgiving, and that's another story. But our children know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
hey, before you pull that up on the How to Hunt Steve guy, did you ever see the game cam picture that he posted?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty interesting. Looks like it has a really interesting photo, though.
Yeah. Yep. I'm sitting here scrolling through my. Is there a way to just look up here?
go to your history.
Ah, there we go.
I can't believe I know more about YouTube than you do.
I know. It's crazy.
And you watch way more of it than I do.
I know. Okay, there's the she squatchers. I don't know if you know them.
I'm gonna write it down.
Yep, that's Jen Cruz out of North Dakota and her pals, and they are really some awesome people. They are a team of gals that they're out in the woods and they're doing the things.
Cool.
I can't remember what.
Squat.
Yeah, she squatchers.
Okay.
I'm going to give Jen a shout out. She and I have gotten to be quite friendly on Facebook. Wonderful, wonderful gal.
Uh-huh. And that's not one. Oh, it's kind of hard. I'm sitting here scrolling through what I've watched. Of course, I watch a lot of RV YouTubers too. So
right now,
that way.
and a lot of current events commentaries right now.
oh, look, I watched this one. Southern Utah Bigfoot Association. I watched that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all, if you're watching this, go watch my Dr. Jeff Meldrum interview
Yes.
on the Southern Utah Bigfoot Association
Yep.
YouTube page.
By the
Right.
way, while
They're-
you're
they're
look-
linked
yeah,
below.
I was just going to say,
Hi,
while
everybody. Dennis Prager here.
Okay, go
again,
ahead.
current events commentators. So while we're waiting for Scott to get his stuff together here, so Tom has a variety of websites that you can visit. They are in our show notes in the description, and I hope he sent us some links for his. What is the name of you as you? What is it? The whiskey box?
Oh,
Yeah. What's your music name?
just you can find my music under Tom Bennett One Man Band.
Tom Bennett, One Man Man. You got a cooler name than that. Something.
Oh, you're talking about my on Facebook underneath my name. It says Vodka Whiskey Boxcar Profit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a bunch of my nicknames.
But that's perfect.
All different things I've called over the years. I've been a kind of a rambling man my whole life.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
A lot of hitchhiking, train riding, dope selling.
Yeah. So, and he also has started up. He has also started up a leatherworking business and does amazing work with belts and hats and other things. And I will be connecting with you at some point. I know.
Cool.
But
Yeah, I'm gonna do some more Sasquatch stuff here soon. I just picked up some beautiful slabs of wood that I'm gonna try to do some really artistic renditions of Sasquatch on. I did some in the past, and
beautiful.
they scored well. They take a lot of time to do.
They
But
do.
they're relaxing, so I'm gonna do some of those. And I've done a couple leather. Well, I got a video on my YouTube of me carving a Sasquatch face into leather. It's fun. Gives me something to sell. While you're on that, it's fine. I want to show you all this. I don't know if you can
Okay.
see there. But
Oh,
so
awesome.
these
That
are my
is
yeah, those are my official band merch. I've got a coyote one in gray, and then this is the Sasquatch one. And people get a kick out of these, and they're real comfortable. I got them in all sizes, and I ship them. So get in touch if you'd like one.
Okay.
I just
So-
didn't want cartoony Bigfoot shirts. You know, I'm like, it's not a cartoon, man. It's a real thing. I want to see like a real cool representation. So found this image and made these shirts. And so yeah.
very cool. So tell us, while he's still frantically scrolling through his YouTube history, do you have it under subscriptions?
No, I can't find my subscription button.
right there.
I know, but it does. There it is. Okay.
While we're waiting for that, tell us, Tom, what got you into Bigfoot research? Tell us what your personal history with
Yeah.
this is.
So I've always been, very fascinated by the phenomenon of Sasquatch. I'm a kid of the 80s, so, we had Harry and the Hendersons and all that, which, as a kid, that was just an awesome movie to see. But I grew up like in hillbilly country. I'm from West Georgia, and I grew up on a 90-acre farm that was surrounded by farms and woods for a long way. So I grew up, pretty outdoorsy. Hunting, fishing, all that stuff was just part of life from a very young age. And the first time I thought I had a Sasquatch experience, I remember I was in elementary school and I was looking out. We had the little farm doors with the 9 little windows, and I was looking out the door and I thought I saw a Sasquatch, just standing in the woods looking at my house. It was a big Sasquatch shape, and I could see it. And I noticed from that day, the next few days, looking out the window, I would see this thing. So I'm thinking, this thing's out here every morning watching in the same spot. I gotta get the courage and go check it out. So I threw my shotgun on my back and I took off through the woods, creeping up on this thing. And I get within about 60, 70 yards of it, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's a Bigfoot, and I get real close. I start creeping up on it, and I draw my weapon just in case, and I get real close, and I'm now within 30, 40 feet, and I'm still convinced it's a Bigfoot. The only thing that's got me thinking differently is, why hasn't it responded to my presence? Surely, I'm being quiet, but surely it's aware of me. And as I get real close, I realize, that's not a Bigfoot. That's it's a stump that broke off in a storm about 8 feet high, and moss has grown over it, and it looks like a Bigfoot, but it wasn't. But it got me curious. I'll show you a picture that goes with that story. So I was in Idaho playing at a really, really redneck wedding. Diners and just having a good time sitting around the fire after the wedding. And
That's the best kind.
oh, it was awesome. So I had a suit on and I took it off and I had my Bigfoot shirt on underneath. And this lady, about 3 o'clock in the morning, we're all drinking moonshine. She says, "Do you believe in Bigfoot?" And I said, "Yeah, I do, because the evidence is compelling enough that I can believe in it." And she said, I do too. She says, "I was in Montana and thought I saw one." And she went and got this picture for me, because her experience was a lot like mine. She did not see a Bigfoot. What she saw in the moonlight, and even in broad daylight, this picture looks a lot like one, but you'll see what we got here. Let's see if you can see that.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
It kind of looks like what's on your trail cam, only it's not 7 feet in the air.
Yep. Wow.
That's
This
amazing.
is like, see, there's the leg and
Uh-huh.
the back. It's just the craziest thing that nature could have made to look like a Bigfoot. And all it is was a tree fell over, and that's just the way the dirt was adhered to the roots.
Wow.
I mean, even in broad daylight, I could see why she thought it was. So that's what got me into it. But I have had 2 experiences that I can't say for certain were definitely Sasquatch, but are quite likely to have been. So, and I'm out squatching too, and I find sign on enough of a regular basis. Like you said, Ely, Nevada. I've got a video on my YouTube where I was simply driving through Connor's Summit, which is, I don't know how high, 8,000 something feet, and there was snow, and I could see a trackway going off through the snow. Now, right by the road, I'm thinking it's probably a person, but they looked, as I drove by, they looked to be very spread out and very large. So I pulled over and checked it out and got a pretty cool video of what I still believe were actual Sasquatch prints.
Mm-hmm.
No definition, 6 feet apart through very deep snow. Yeah, it's all on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
So everyone, make sure you go to that link and check out his channel because he's got some great stuff up there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of starting, but I'm trying to be more diligent about posting more content. And I just did I think a 3-part series with 1 part to go about squatching in Dixie National Forest. We've got a pretty great ecosystem here in southern Utah, which I think surprises a lot of people. We don't get a lot of Sasquatch sightings in southern Utah. It's very, very desert, very similar to the Vegas type environment, a lot of sandstone. But we do get sightings, and since building the Southern Utah Bigfoot Association, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, I've had 3 people contact me. One, a Class 1 sighting out by the Zion National Park. Wow. And a couple of, I got sent audio of some very interesting calls that were made not far from here in a little bit more of a mountainous environment on the way to the Dixie National Forest. But we've got deer, elk, a variety of vegetation, and a lot of places to hide in the Dixie National Forest. So that's going to be the main focus of my squatching for the next little while.
That's actually, it kind of led into what we wanted to ask next, was to tell us about, Squatch in Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, Utah is it's not something you think of like hot spots and you think of the Pacific Northwest or the Alleghenies in New York or something like that. You don't generally think, oh, Utah.
Utah's got some hot spots, and they've been consistently hot for a lot of years. A search on Utah Bigfoot on YouTube is going to pull up quite a bit of compelling video. There's some guys that have been doing this a lot longer than I have, so respect to them. There's Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, or MSO.
Oh, we're familiar with them.
Yeah.
He puts out video consistently. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I watch his videos, and I've submitted my one of my sightings to him, and that's what got me thinking, well, I should probably cover the southern Utah area a little bit more. I just found out the other day on Instagram about Cache Valley Bigfoot, I think it is, Cache Valley Sasquatch, Cache Valley Bigfoot, something like that. They got an Instagram page. There was a sighting like a week or 2 ago that it's pretty far off. The footage is very, very distant, but a man and his son filmed something walking across one of these high meadows, and I mentioned that in my video. There's a lot of famous sighting Scipio, Utah, which is still very meadow surrounded. It's a big valley, very meadow with big mountain ranges on both sides. A trucker back in the late 70s claimed to have seen a mother Sasquatch carrying a baby run across I-15. There's a lot of Bigfoot sightings, and there's a lot. What's really cool to me is there's a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of sightings just by everyday people out doing something, not necessarily way deep in the woods. There's a famous one in Provo.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Wasn't that Provo one was there, yeah.
Yeah, that boy, teenage boy and girl, I'm thinking, or young adults, got a rock thrown at them. There's a place on the way to Timpanogos Cave. You go through a really aspen, very unique terrain where somebody filmed something standing between 2 trees, kind of doing that, There's a lot. There's a lot in Utah.
That's so cool. We should go to Utah next year.
We should. Actually, we're going to be
stay
in
away.
Vegas. Isn't too far from.
That's what I was just about to say. When you said that, we should meet up and do some squatching.
We should.
There's
be there for
some
3
places
weeks
out there that I've seen on the way to California that I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's a huge mountain less than an hour from Vegas, covered in snow. It's worth looking into.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to be spending almost 3 weeks in Vegas. So we'll have to hook up and we can drive up there and see you.
Sounds like a great date, boys' day out.
Yeah, and then and then after that we are actually going to the Flagstaff area, and there's a lot of stories in that area.
Yep, I've gotten up in those mountains a little bit. Used to play a lot of shows in Flagstaff. It's crazy, man. Like, so I didn't know much about Arizona, but until I started touring heavily. And the first time that I fell in love with this southern Utah, southwest area, I came up from the Mexico border, dead through the middle of Arizona, and it was winter, and Phoenix was 70, and Flagstaff was in the 20s and snowing hard.
Yeah.
It's cool territory, beautiful, heavily forested. I saw the biggest coyote I've ever seen in Flagstaff.
I don't want to go to Flagstaff this time of year. Thank you very much. I
No,
want
but
to
it's
go to Yuma. Yuma.
Quartzsite. Everybody tells me Quartzsite.
That's where we're headed. Yeah, we're gonna do some. We got to do that because we're RVers, and
Yeah,
you
there's like
have
a
to
rule.
go to Quartzsite at least once.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. I got two more channels I'm going to throw at you. There's one called Sasquatch Central.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Hold on a second. Pin's being funny. Sasquatch Central. Okay,
Central.
got it.
And there's another one called Sasquatch Chronicles.
Oh yeah. I've checked him out. Yeah.
Yeah, those are two. And there's another guy called Bigfoot Tony. I don't know if you know of him.
Yeah, he does some great. He's slowed down a little bit lately.
He has.
Man, he's very critical, and I like that because I always tell Squatchers, I'm like, we need to refute and deny fake stuff before anybody else does.
Yeah.
Because all it does is make people look at it and go, that's silly, which I don't care what they think anyway.
Mhm.
Like you said, I take it as a fact already. You're not going to convince me otherwise. But I think it's silly when people put outright fake. It's fine to put out funny stuff. I did a video with my local news here where I wore an awful fake Sasquatch costume. It was clearly fake. Never tried to fool anybody with it, and I never will. But it was obviously fake, and we were having fun. That's fine. But people putting out fake stuff, trying to pass it off as real, it's just wasting people's time.
Mhm.
If you've got a compelling video or picture or story, share it, please. And you're going to be scrutinized for it. This comes with the territory. Don't be sensitive about it. Just understand that not everybody's going to believe you. You know, it's just the way it goes. But put out that content. If you got something, send it to people who can look at it and analyze it. That's actually one of the notes I made before jumping on with you that I wanted to bring up is, stay open-minded, but scrutinize everything. I talk about it a lot. The few videos I put out when I'm squatching, I try to whisper a lot and go back and add commentary if I need to, because I'm in the woods, I'm squatching.
Mhm.
But I do talk a lot about looking for sign and just certain aspects of what you may find that can let you know if it might actually come from a Sasquatch or if it's man-made. Like in one of my videos, I find a beautiful tree structure. Now, granted, and I address it in the video, it's right by a 2-lane highway through the dead middle of Dixie National Forest. But at the same time, that 2-lane highway is at the top of a mountain, 45 minutes from even a close village, So somebody probably did pull over and make it, but not necessarily. It's still worth capturing on video and acknowledging that it could have come from a variety of sources. Like how when you see a lot of Bigfoot prints that make it on the internet, as you probably very well know, are simply a bear stepping
Yep.
into, its front track.
Mhm.
And it can look like, it's organic. It came from an animal. It can look like a Bigfoot track, but there's certain things you got to look for. Like when a track like that is made, it's often going to have what would give it like an arch appearance. And we know that most footprints that have been proven to be most likely Sasquatch don't have that foot structure. They have the mid-tarsal break.
Right.
Things that you got to look for. Doesn't mean you don't document it. Please do, because you might be wrong. It might be a valid Sasquatch print. And if it is, we'd like to see it. We want to know.
So, what I hear is that skepticism is very healthy.
Absolutely.
And I think too often people fall into the trap of I've already made up my mind, don't confuse me with the facts.
Yeah.
And we've got to avoid that in any kind of scientific endeavor
Yep.
or any other endeavor.
Right. Be polite about it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when, I'm part of a bunch of different Facebook groups, as I'm sure you are too, and I hate when people demean people for sharing something.
Mhm.
You know, they may not have been squatching long, or you know what, maybe they're just not as smart as you think you are. You know what I mean?
I
There's all
love that.
people
Not
out
as
there,
smart
and
as you think you are.
right? I appreciate when people put up something that they think is compelling, you know, and I've put up things too and had people say, I don't think so because this and this. And I appreciate and respect that. Be respectful to people, but if it looks like, if you've got a reason not to believe it or a reason to believe it, go ahead and comment that. Me personally, I'm not going to be offended by whatever anybody says, but don't discourage somebody jumping online and sharing something, you know, but also be open-minded.
Yep.
Outlandish stories and all that, you know, there's going to be all kinds of stuff out there, but just take it with a grain of salt. You mentioned the How to Hunt, Steve's videos. I like those, but my favorite currently, and it has been for a while, because the guy is just brilliant, and now his site is accompanied by exceptional artwork, is the Bob Gimlin YouTube page.
Yes, I've watched that
Not
one.
actual Bob Gimlin from Patterson Gimlin, of course, but he spells it Gymln, Bob Gimlin. And that guy, man, he puts out some great videos. I love them from around the world.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's another one. And then there's another one too. Though we're back on this is there's a gal. She's from California, and her page is called Bigfoot Evidence.
Bigfoot evidence, or
Yeah, she. In fact, you would have if we would have had our Bigfoot festival. She was going to be there. So dang it, you would have met her.
What?
But
We got to make that happen again.
we do.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. As far as squatching too, I think everybody should get out and squatch. And as far as, so I travel extensively through Utah, Idaho, Arizona, sometimes New Mexico, Nevada, and Wyoming. So if you're watching this and you're out in any of those areas and you want to squatch with me, let me know. I'll go out in the woods with you. I've had a couple times where I've commented things like that on some of these Sasquatch groups, and moderators have said, "Oh, you know, we don't encourage people meeting up," you know, and I could see the risk. You know what I mean? You don't want to meet up with random people off the internet that you don't know. It can be dangerous. It can be not the most intelligent thing you ever did. But here I am. You know, you can look into me, Google me. I've got
We
nothing
can
to
vouch
hide.
for him.
Yeah.
No funny
Violent,
business.
correct, nothing like that.
And he's got
But,
an adorable wife and kiddo, so a total family guy going on here.
Usually it's just me and the dog right here on the road. She's
Oh.
a good
Yep.
one. Yeah, reach out to me and I'll go squatching with you. And I grew up in the South and know about a different type of terrain. I've been out here in Utah for quite a few years now. Haven't been squatching forever out here, not too long, but am learning more. You'll see in my videos, you know, I'll probably misidentify certain types of trees and things. And I always say, you know, if you know what this is, let me know. Or in one of my recent videos, a large white bird circles overhead. It was beautiful. And I say, I don't know what this is. You could probably barely see it in the video, but if you know what it might be, let me know. I'm still learning, but I'm decent in the woods. I'm healthy. I get out there and look for stuff. I'm willing to get out and squatch with you. I enjoy that. Anywhere I go, you see I'm coming to your area, you want to meet up, tell me your story, let me know. I've had children come with their parents and meet up with me and tell me cool stories. A little girl in Cedar City, Utah, I forget now what she called it, but said that when she was real little, like 3 or 4, they live in the foothills of the mountains, that a big hairy man, she said he wore a little hat, would come down out of the woods and play with her, and described him to me in great detail. It sounded just like a Sasquatch. Another boy in Arizona was at one of my shows at a restaurant, and his parents let him come up and tell me. He was very articulate and smart little boy, probably about 10, 11 years old. Told me in great detail about a Sasquatch experience with his father in the woods. I love hearing this stuff firsthand. Kids, it's awesome to hear it from them because they don't have much incentive to make up stuff, you know. And they're going to tell you just the way it was, with just kind of pure recollection, not I read this and it tainted my understanding of what a Sasquatch is. They just tell you how it is. It's cool. I love hearing that stuff. A couple of ones I want to bring up, just if I can, that I like. course, the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Everybody knows, if you're squatching, that M.K. Davis has done some awesome breakdowns of those and brought out, certain details through editing the film that really bring those out. Love those videos. And I am a Patterson-Gimlin guy, 100% believe that was a real Sasquatch caught on camera. The 4th of July Bigfoot video where the mother picks up the other one and goes behind the rocks. I've heard various people say, it could be real, it may not. I personally think I lean towards that. Pretty real looking to me. Out in your part of the woods, before you got on the road, Freeman's footage.
Yep, absolutely. That's on my list.
Love that footage.
In fact, I was going to tell you that photo I got was literally 5 miles south of where Freeman took his video. Literally 5 miles south of there.
Well, and you told me about experiences that you personally have had in that region of the Blue Mountains.
So one of our audience here wanted to mention to you, Tom. This is Dale. This was Scott's long lost cousin that they discovered in Maine. He says, Tom, when you were talking about seeing things that are of interest, Scott and I were in the woods of Maine, saw a couple of tree piles that were interesting. Scott went right to figuring out if it was a natural phenomenon or not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We found one, and this was on a road. I mean, and people were driving around. It was hunting season, so I know there were people all over the place, and I know we had some wind. But what we found was there was trees in the middle of the road. But what was interesting, there was like 5 of them, and if they were tree breaks from the wind, they would have fell, the same direction. But there was one like this, one going this way, one going that way, and it's like, and we tried to figure out where they came from, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, I can't conclusively say Bigfoot did that, but it's like they don't fall that way,
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I had written down too, as far as being scrutinizing of evidence. That's the main thing we're seeing right now, it appears to me, on the internet and in people's personal squatching outings, is these stick and tree structures. And some of them are looking very, very elaborate, to the point of being actual shelters. I've even seen ones on the internet with multiple rooms. As you said, you don't know. You don't know. If these are in areas with a lot of human activity, of course, statistically, the chances are going to be higher that they were made by a human being. Like you said, yours was in a road, but it was in the road. It doesn't sound like something a person would want to do. Yeah. You're never going to know absolutely. With stick structures, I personally would say, obviously, look for trackways around them, and look for hair. Look for hair.
Yep, absolutely.
If they're working and literally maneuvering these trees into position, it's quite likely they may lose some hair in the process of doing that. Look in the bark, look around. One of the coolest things I ever found, my first time really squatching, Provo Canyon, hot site in Utah. I played a show at a bar. It was like 2 a.m. I'm like, I'm going squatching. I got time to kill. Let's go. So I stopped by a local store. I picked up bananas, apples. I went out. I made some calls in the woods. Went way deep in the woods. Summertime, and made my calls. Threw apples, in a big circle all around me. Got out. Kept my ears out. Listening all night long for a while until I got bored of it. Got out and did some actual walking around in the woods. Didn't hear or see anything that night. The next morning, I got up, started looking around, and I like to follow game trails. I like to follow, if I see a little line going off through the woods, I want to go where the animals go, right? I can follow man-made trails all day, and you might see a print or something. But if I can follow a game trail, I'm more likely to have an encounter of some kind. I followed this game trail probably 700-800 yards up some very, very steep terrain and crossed a creek and started finding the stick breaks, all going the same direction. And found a big clump of very coarse red hair, like in a pad of hair that looked like it had fallen off of something, like a matted hair that had fallen off. I didn't know about Dr. Jeff Meldrum very much at this point. If I had known, I would have done what I would do now and bagged it up and sent it off for analysis. Two clumps of hair like that.
Yeah, he still owes me some analysis. We actually found we found it was like a dreadlock almost.
Yeah.
In Maine, and we sent him some of it, and he's never got back to me yet. So I need to
Busy guy.
I need to poke him a little bit.
Well, he's probably busy, transferring all of his material to online instruction.
Yeah, probably.
So Renee says, this year I saw several trees broken off in the same direction and somewhat close to the same height. It was very strange. They weren't blown down, and it was in an area that has always made me uneasy.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
cool.
quite likely. If you're in a position to continue to return to this area, do so. If you got access to a game camera, put it up. I don't know if you saw this video. I won't get long-winded about it, but on that Bob Gimlin channel, out of his videos, which I've liked every one of them he's done, the one that really I just appreciated so much was he addressed the question of why doesn't game cameras ever pick up Sasquatch. Well, actually they do. This does happen. Not too often. And a lot of people say maybe they can hear or sense that the camera is there. That's quite likely. In the video that Bob Gimlin did, he cited a study, I believe it was in Africa, where they were putting game cameras amongst various groups of great apes and then documenting how they responded to the game cameras. Certain apes were caught on camera many, many times, but I think it was the Highland gorilla, they did not, even though they knew the apes were there, documented them and proved they were there, they did not capture them on camera a single time. What they did document, though, was that the game camera itself was touched or moved over 30 different times.
Wow.
Smart.
That is cool.
There are always the dogs that refuse to be caught on camera. It's like they know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's not saying that they can't be caught on camera, but it explains why there is an absence or not a great deal of game camera footage coming out.
Yeah, it's like the I don't know if you're familiar with the Billy ape.
Yes.
That wasn't discovered until like 2002, until they finally caught it on a game camera, and the natives have been talking about that thing for, hundreds of years and telling people they exist, and the anthropologists or, the biologists were like, nah, they can't, a 5-foot tall chimpanzee, nah, we would have seen that, but in 2002 they finally got one on a game camera and said, oh, well, yeah, they do exist.
All right, and with that, I'm going to insert my my party pooper presence. And if we are going to hear this, we got to hear it now because we're coming to the end, and we will have you back. Tom is going to perform one of the songs that he wrote for our festival and didn't get to play. Yeah. So please enjoy this live Bigfoot serenade or whatever by Tom Bennett, the vodka whiskey blah blah blah.
Tom Bennett, one-man band. So before I play this song, I did write this for you guys for your convention, and I just ordered recording equipment to my house, and I'm ending on putting out at least 3 or 4 songs, an album called Sasquatch Songs. The whole album is going to be nothing but songs about Sasquatch, and I'm going to try hard to get one of these songs in one of those Jack Link's jerky commercials.
Awesome. You should send me leads and I can do keyboard with you.
Got it. We can do that. Yeah. And also, I would love to have collaborations on this. And also, if you like the song, I am more than happy when I get it recorded to send it to you, and you can use it in any way you like.
Oh, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
So, all right, I'm going to see how good I can do on this. I haven't played it in a long time, but this is called I Believe in Bigfoot. I believe in Bigfoot, so people think I'm dumb. Till I quote National Geographic or Dr. Bigfoot is real, why can't a body be found? Dr. Beltram says they leave footprints in the ground. Footprints as unique as the ones from you and me. You better believe him, cause he's got a PhD. I've been to Pocatello, and I've met with a man. He held Sasquatch DNA right there in his sand. I believe in Bigfoot. Some people say I'm dumb. Until I quote Scott Violet and Dr. Beltram. Now listen, he ain't no mirate, you ignoramus. He's more akin to an australopithecus. Just take a look here, this metatarsal joint. I may be ignorant, not stupid. Do you get the point? Well, I believe in Sasquatch. Some people think I'm dumb. Till I quote Scott Valley, Dr. Beltram.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I could totally throw some keyboard riffs into that, man. It'd be so fun. So fun.
I'm guessing that might be the only song that says Australopithecus in mid-tarsal joint.
Yeah,
think
I'm pretty
so.
sure it is.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
gosh,
awesome.
Great. And honestly, Code Monkey went viral on
Yeah.
YouTube, so we can make that go viral.
Yeah.
Everyone, make sure you share this. Come back to it tomorrow and start sharing the crap out of this video. Let's make him go viral.
I believe that Sasquatch songs, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. All right.
I can. This recording equipment should be here like next week, and I'm gonna get to it fast as I can.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom, so much. We are going to have you back at some point, and thank you so much for coming on tonight. So now it's time. Sorry, it's like all good things must come to an end.
Yep,
And
our hour's up.
So,
Hit me up in Vegas.
Yes, we
We
will.
will.
Definitely, Tom.
all right. So, there you go. All right. So, as always, we are Squatch America. Visit us at www.squatchamerica.com. There is a store there with branded merch. And please buy our merch. It is Christmas time. You have got Bigfoot lovers that maybe it's yourself. Show yourself some love and buy our merch.
Yeah. And also down in the description below, you'll get Tom's links to all the Tom stuff. Make sure to hit him up.
Yep.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, our
Our
job
job
is
is
to
to
investigate the unexplained, not to explain the uninvestigated.
So with that, as always, thank you so much for being here tonight. We had a small audience and they missed out. But until we see you again next week, keep it squatchy and
Go out and find Bigfoot.
Southern Utah Bigfoot Association. Squatch Bar.
All right, so, hold it, just a second. All right, we're off the air.
off.